This is going to be a deck tech for Selenia Dark Angel, my pride and joy, my baby, my very first commander deck. She was originally a $20 build, and as you're going to see, it's definitely worth more than $20 now. First off, she's been altered to be Death from the Sandman comics, done by my good friend Zach. Just want to shout out him. I'll link him in the caption so y'all can check out some of his artwork. Selenia herself, on her face, really doesn't seem that impressive. I mean, she's a 3/3 flyer for 5 that only has pay 2 life, return Selenia to her owner's hand. But what is sneaky good about this is that you can pay the 2 life over and over again to knock yourself down to 1 or 0 life and then find some way to win after that. Wall of Blood is first up because it's a little bit of redundancy for a deck. It's basically a better version of Selenia herself. That pay 1 life ability makes it way easier for you to go off because you don't have to manage your life total to make sure it's at an odd or even number beforehand. Access of Mortality is a way to switch life totals with someone else when you are at a low number. Repay in Kind is just a strictly better version of this that makes everyone's life total the lowest amount among all players, which is always going to be you, which can kill everyone the turn that you play this if you play your cards right. Now, when we can't win with Selenia, there's other combos in the deck, just some classic black-white stuff. We have Exquisite Blood, Sanguine Bond. Once you have them both out, if you find any way to gain life or deal damage to an opponent, they infinitely paint off each other, killing everyone. Vizkopa Guildmage, the second ability is just a copy of Sanguine Bond, so you can have some more consistency there. And with these 2 cards, there's other ways that you can win with these 2 by, for instance, knocking yourself down with Selenia and then using any of these life gain cards to regain all that life back and kill a target player. We have Children of Corliss, sack, gain some life, Tainted Sigil, sack, gain life equal to your starting life total. Oketra's Last Mercy is the worst version of this effect, but most of the time you're going to be winning the turn that you play it, so it doesn't really matter. Yes, Adnaz is probably the best combo in the deck. Now, we can't really draw that many cards with just a naked Adnaz because the CMC for some cards in our deck, as you can see, is just like so high. So what we do is we use effects like Angel's Grace, which let us go way below 0 and not die. Other versions of this effect are like Soul Echo and Phyrexian Unlife, 2 enchantments that do the same thing. Phyrexian Unlife. This one has, if you're below 0 life, all damage dealt to you is dealt as though it has Infect. Teferi's Protection is not just a good piece of protection in this deck, it also helps you combo off with Adnaz. If, like, for instance, the end step before your turn, you cast Adnaz, hold priority, cast Teferi's Protection, this resolves first, your life total can't change, you can draw your whole deck. Once you have your whole deck in your hands, how do you win? The easiest way, the safest way, I should say, is with Scourge Familiar. Scourge Familiar, 3/2 flyer for 5, discard a card, add black to your mana pool. So once we drop Scourge Familiar, we basically never have to worry about mana ever again. We can play all our mana rocks to have access to white mana too, and then our entire deck in our hands, there's just no way we can lose. Once you have your entire deck in your hand, you can use all the mana from the cards you discarded to either fuel a giant Pestilence or to cast Repay in Kind again, for instance. Pestilence is also nice because it's a way to ping people for 1 if you swap life totals with them when you're down to 1. Sickening Dreams is the cheaper mana-wise version to go off with, as it only costs 2 mana and has an additional effect where you can discard X cards to deal X damage to each player. As I mentioned earlier with Phyrexian Unlife, once you have this out and have your entire deck in your hands, you're going to be way below 0. And Sickening Dreams is damage, so if you deal more than 10 damage, you're actually going to kill yourself to infect. So the way to get around this is by using Intervention Pact. So the next time a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage, and you gain life equal to the damage prevented this way for 0 mana. So if you cast Sickening Dreams, hold priority, cast Intervention Pact targeting that, then you'll be safe, everyone else will die. The next combo we have is Bolus's Citadel and Sensei's Divining Top. Now, both of these cards are good in their own right, but together they basically allow you to draw any card in your deck for 1 life by tapping Sensei's Divining Top, drawing a card, paying 1 life to cast it off your deck to Bolas's Citadel, and repeating. Now, we can almost always win this way. Oh, I'm sorry. Necropotence is another way to remove a card off the top of your library for 1 life. It's pretty likely, given that we have 3 major life gain cards in the deck, these 3 guys right here, there's a good chance that you're going to hit one of them, be able to use them, bring your life total back up to 40, and then just keep churning through your deck, assembling a win with Bolas's Citadel on top. Good ways to get our combos are through all the tutors here. Enlightened Tutor, Vampire Tutor, Wishclaw Talisman, Demonic Tutor, Grim Tutor, Dark Petition. Grand Abolisher here is the start of our protection package. We're in black and white. We don't really have access to counter magic, so silence effects are really our best bet. Grand Abolisher is nice because it stops everything. And we have Imp's Mischief here. It's really a counter spell for counter spells. Silence. Mandate of Peace is what I'm testing out. Mana type, have to have it. The white counter spell. Counter target spell unless they pay 1 mana. It's better early game. Honestly, I probably should cut it, but I love this card too much. Ranger Captain of Eos is nice because it also tutors for a 1-drop, and we can either grab the Children of Corliss that I mentioned earlier, where you can sack to gain all your life back, or we can grab a utility card like Esper Sentinel here. Esper Sentinel, Dark Confidant, Dark Tutelage, Phyrexian Arena, Knight's Whisper, Read the Bones. Sign in Blood is interesting because actually this card says target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So there's been many times when I've knocked myself down to 1, swapped life totals with an opponent, and then killed them with Sign in Blood. So that's always fun when you can manage to do that. Peer into the Abyss. It's really easy for us to generate a lot of mana in this deck to be able to cast this. And then once we have half our deck in our hands, there's a good chance that you can win the game, just like right there. Necropotence is also another way. Draw a lot of cards. I included land tax here. It's not strictly card draw, but we do what we can in Orzhov. And there's plenty of basics in this deck to grab. So Swords to Plowshares is the top one here for our spot removal. Here we have more removal. I honestly can't remember the name of it, but for 2 mana, you can exile a card with CMC 4 or greater. Generous Gift, destroy target permanent, lots of versatility. Anguished Unmaking, same thing. Now, Abolish is interesting because it's just a 3 mana naturalize, so it seems pretty overcosted, but this is more of a get out of jail free card when you draw your entire deck and then enchantment that like prevents you from killing someone, play for free, and then win the game once you have your entire deck in your hand. For board wipes, we have Toxic Deluge, Damn, then we have Austere Command and Merciless Eviction. We have Lotus Petal, Chromox, Mana Crypt. These are important to have some free options when you have your entire deck in your hand to an Adnaz. My French Altered Soul Rain here, Vault, Felwar Stone, Talisman, Arcane Signet, Orzhov Signet. Dark Ritual, Smothering Tithe, and Cryptghast can just generate us a lot of mana. And then Cryptghast has the added ability of Extort. Now we're down to like just some of the flex, like utility spots in the deck. I have Opposition Agent here. It says stop trying to make fetch happen. Shout out to all the other Mean Girls fans out there. Plunge into Darkness is a card I'm testing. You can pay X life, look at the top X cards of your library, put one of them into your hand. Ghostly Prison, helps guard us early on against really aggressive decks. Down to the utility land. Besieger, who shelters all. Making something uncounterable is huge when we don't have that many counterspells of our own. Core Haven prevents a Voltron deck from just beating your face. Scavenger Grounds exiles all graveyards. Reliquary Tower. Lake of the Dead, Ancient Tomb, and Cabal Coffers and Urborg make up our ramp package for our lands. For the dual lands, we have Silent Clearing, Fetid Heath, Isolated Chapel, Caves of Kolios, Vault of Champions. I don't really have an excuse for the bounce land. Command Tower, Tainted Field, Marsh Flats, Prismatic Vista, Verdant Catacombs, Bloodstained Mire, Pluto Delta, Godless Shrine, Scrubland, 2 plains, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 swamps. Anyway, that's my deck tech for Selenia Dark Angel.